Good morning, Tommy Robinson and your Tommynist fans. Tommy, I believe you can get email in Belmarsh prison. So perhaps somebody might email you a link to this video. I don't know quite what high-speed internet is like in Belmarsh, and I don't know how long you'll be allowed to spend on it. Tommy, if you get this somehow, or even if your fans tell you about this somehow, because I believe we can also write to you because somebody put on the internet at least your prison number. Well, if you get this, Tommy, somehow or another, I begin with an apology. This apology goes out not just to you, but to the whole community at Belmarsh Prison. I'm sorry. To go all Jacob Rees-Mogg upper crust on you. Mea culpa. Mea culpa. I'm responsible. My fault. My mistake. My bad. Sorry to all of you. I misclassified in an earlier video Belmarsh Prison. I only put it down as a category C. I have apologised before. But let me just add, Tommy, I don't know, one, if you're still detained at Belmarsh anyway, because quite often people who commit similar kinds of offences are just moved on. I believe they've had a few news of the Screws phone hackers start off there. Yeah, so you may have been moved on. But also, I think I just need to add this. Belmarsh is a Category A prison, but within its Category A, me miscategorising it as a C, yeah, within its Category A, there is a high security unit. Bit like, say, in a hospital there is an ICU or a high dependency unit. Yeah. So, Tommy, I don't know if you're detained in the high security unit or not. Usually that is based on the chance of the prisoner escaping. Usually it's also based on the nature of the offence. So whether or not your offence that you have been convicted of warrants you detained in the high security unit at Belmarsh or elsewhere, at this stage we don't know. But Tommy, and if you just excuse me for a minute, because I just need to attend to what for some reason is probably a slightly runny nose, might even be a dose of hay fever this morning. On to my next point though, Tommy. I noticed before you were sent down to Belmarsh, you, like me, were wearing a T-shirt. I quite like this one because my wife got it for me, and it talks about heart attacks and pizza. Well, pizza's another story in my life, but you were wearing a T-shirt when you were sent down from the Bailey. And I noticed this was kind of a bit mean of journalists as well, that some of them had only photographed you and that T-shirt. I'm having to sort of stand up a bit, Tommy, or sit up a bit, because like you, as I've said before, I'm small. Yeah, I noticed some of the mean journalists and the media people had only photographed from there upwards. And from there upwards on your shirt, like mine shows pizza, yours just read convicted. Now, if I just move up a little, Tommy, you know, underneath, even above your belly, and mine is a bit big, I'm happy to admit, even above your belly was another word, and this is the word I want to talk with you about, and your fans about. Hopefully you might get this. You put the word journalist. So you were telling everybody there, all the other journalists there, the journalists whom your supporters rioted against the BBC there, whom your supporters attacked. You were telling them that you'd been convicted as a journalist. Now, forgive me, Tommy, and please do clarify if I'm wrong. I don't believe that on the British statute books there is the offence of journalism. Now, you've been tried under British stroke English law. You haven't even been tried under Sharia law, Tommy, but British English law. I'm sure your solicitors and your counsel and everyone who would advise you agrees that you have been tried under British stroke English law. Tommy, I don't think that the offence of journalism is even on the statute books. You've been convicted of mortgage fraud. That, as fraud and deception, is an offence that's on the statute books. I think, if I'm correct, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, but I do believe you were convicted of a passport offence while travelling somewhere else on a friend's passport, and I do believe that's why even Mr. Trump can't really grant you asylum in America, because you're banned from entering the country as a passport offender. So, Tommy, can you just please explain to me how you are a journalist? Do you have a press pass that you can show me? Are you a member of the National Union of Journalists? I expect you're probably going to say you're some kind of citizen journalist. Well, in that case, Tommy, I could just as easily describe myself as a citizen journalist. I have written, and I've actually had work published for money. I've written for a couple of company newspapers. I used to write for the student press. So yeah, my stuff has been published, but I wouldn't go as far as to define myself as some kind of citizen journalist. And apart from anything, Tommy, really the truth of the matter is you've been convicted for interfering with a trial. You've been convicted for contempt of court, a British court, that you have held in contempt. That's what your conviction is all about, Tommy, and that's what you're serving the time for. But I thought I'd better just come on here and make an apology for miscategorising Belmarsh and just add my question to you. How do you consider, or how do your fans consider you to be a journalist, Tommy? Let me know if you get moved. I'm sure your supporters will let me know if you get moved. So just an apology to put out in the public domain to you, Tommy Robinson, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, and everybody at Belmarsh Category A Prison.